What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode. This episode, we're gonna do a little bit of reaction. We're gonna watch a video about how cold the motherfucking streets really is, and the story right here is based on a true story, and it was also in the movie Paid in Full, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. But you know, the reason I wanted to make this right here is just to reiterate to the world about how cold the game really is, how there really is no winners. Like, you can be up material, you can be up with a gang of money, and ultimately with that comes a lot of envy, a lot of jealousy, and it comes from the people the closest to you. But let's jump into this.
The most infamous event associated with the Preacher crew was the December 1989 kidnapping of 12-year-old Donnell Porter. Donnell was the younger brother of Harlem legend Rich Porter. His kidnapping was captured in the classic HUD movie Paid in Full. However, in the movie, they changed his name from Donnell to Sonny.
Hey, Sonny's gone, man. What? Yo, somebody took him, man. Somebody took him. Nah, this shit is real, B. They came around, they dropped off an old man asking for money, man. Look, they want $500,000 or they gonna kill him or something. That's what they said, man. Shit, $500,000.
On December 5th, 1989, Donnell was walking home from school when he was kidnapped by the Preacher crew 4 blocks away from his home. The kidnapping was actually set up by Donnell and Rich's uncle, a man named Johnny Porter, aka Apple. In the movie, they also changed his name from Apple to Ice. But Apple was active in the streets and had a reputation as a man with no code. He saw his nephew, Rich, getting money and saw an opportunity.
You hear what they just said? They said a man without no code. That couldn't be that's the most truest elaboration of what this motherfucker is. This is his own family. This is his uncle. This is his uncle, and he's seeing this cat getting money. That's terrible.
So he approached Preacher one day and told him, "We should kidnap Donnell. I know I can get Rich to pay us at least $500,000 for him." Preacher thought Apple was a lowlife, but figured, hey, Donnell isn't my blood, and if Apple is telling me I can make $1, that's all that matters. So Preacher sanctioned the kidnapping. Apple and another Preacher crew member, named Anthony Boatwright, aka Malik, then kidnapped Donnell on his way home from school. Later that evening.
Now, the motherfucker that even took on the task of the dude named Preacher, and the dude named Preacher is a killer like no other in New York, and he's well known, heinous crimes, the whole nine, and he even knew he was a piece of shit. But once again, he's blinded by the money. He don't care. I mean, once again, you got to figure these is motherfucking the worst of the worst right here. They don't care. None of that shit matters. All that matters is the money, monetary gain. That's all they think about is money, 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 and it's crazy. Let's get back to it.
Donnell's family started getting worried that he hadn't shown up from school. They then received a series of phone calls. The voice on the other side of the line told them, "We got Donnell. We want $500,000 for him, and don't think about going to the police." The family responded that they didn't have that kind of money. In reality, Rich only had about half of the ransom they wanted. The kidnappers then hung up. For the rest of the night, the Porter family were left to panic, with no word on what was happening to Donnell. But the kidnappers would call the very next day, agreeing to lower their demand to $350,000. They then gave the family a series of instructions. They said to go to the McDonald's at 125th and Broadway. Once inside, they said to go into the bathroom, where they would find proof of how serious the kidnappers were. The Porters then sent a family friend to the restaurant. When he got there, he went into the bathroom. He started looking around, and quickly found a large coffee can sitting there. He went to open it, but what he found inside would shock him. Inside of the can was a part of Donnell's index finger, along with 2 rings and a cassette tape. The kidnappers were torturing the poor 12.
Did y'all hear that? They done cut this little boy's finger off. But as terrible as that is, it even gets worse.
Old boy. The family then played the heartbreaking cassette. On it, Donnell could be heard crying for help. The words he then said are enough to make a grown man cry. Donnell would say, quote, "They cutted my finger off. Please help me. Get the money. I love you, Mommy." End quote. It's been over 30 years since the incident, yet those who...
Could you imagine this, though? Could you imagine that being your kid missing? Your kid's missing, now you done played this tape and you hear him cutting off his fingers. Fuck. Can you imagine that? That just goes to show you how evil that's out there. Keep in mind, this is a family member that's behind this whole issue. If everything happening is behind a family member, somebody that's right there the whole time, envious, jealous, you name it. This motherfucking person is of their own family member. And look, this is the shit they doing. But all they want is some money. Some money, give him back. He's already missing a finger or two. God damn.
Still sent a chill down your spine. And to think that it was Danelle's own flesh and blood, his Uncle Apple, who was the main architect of the plot, is absolutely sickening. But after the McDonald's incident, the kidnappers would call for the third time, when the family would say they only had $200,000 to give. The kidnappers then said, "Okay, we'll call you right back," and hung up. After hearing the family only had $200,000, Apple and the other members of the Preacher crew had a discussion. Preacher was saying, "Let's just accept what Rich was offering, it's enough." But Apple, Danelle's own uncle, said, "No, I know I can get Rich."
Now they just offered to give them 250, 300,000, right? And that's a lot of money. And imagine this is back in the 80s. They offered to give them that much money. And they still turned it down. That's how greedy they is. That's greed. Greed for sure. Across the board. As greedy as he is, they want more. Like 200,000, 300,000 ain't a lot. Like, but greed plays out. Let's see what happens.
Pay more, let's hold out.
I believe Rich said that all he could have was like half of that. Like he get them 250,000. My father was willing to take that, right? But Apple and Malik himself was like, "Nah, we can still get more. We can still get more from him." So my pops was like, "All right, he settled for that. Like, all right, we gonna give you some time."
Despite their promise to call back, the kidnappers stopped communicating with the family that evening. Having realized the type of danger Danelle was in, and not hearing from the kidnappers for the rest of the evening, the family then decided to finally contact the police. The police then interviewed Rich and his crew in order to get answers. Who would want to kidnap Danelle? But Rich and his boys were tight-lipped. Rich wanted to get Danelle back on his own. He had more than enough money to pay the ransom, but it wasn't accessible as it was tied up in the streets. So Rich started hitting up the people who owed him money. Days would go by with no word of Danelle's condition. But a boy from the neighborhood would drop off a letter to the family. The letter was from the kidnappers. It read, quote, "We still want the money, the child is in pain, and he needs medical attention," end quote. But there was still no direct communication, and the days would eventually turn into weeks. Danelle was kidnapped on December 5th. By January 3rd, Rich would himself be murdered by Alpo and dumped near Orchard Beach Park. According to Alpo, Rich...
Damn, that's a cold twist right there. And from watching the movie Paid in Full, I don't really remember the movie really covering it like that. I didn't know that the money that Alpo ended up killing him for, I didn't know that was money he was gathering for his son though. That's crazy. For his brother though. That's crazy. Damn. And the whole time he calling, trying to just get more money, trying to collect his dues. Alpo, use this as a way out of it, to know that he already owes his cat money. So while he's doing this, he just knocks him off. Damn, and Alpo went and did a bid, a long ass bid, like 17 years or something. And he came home. He came home to the streets, and motherfucking be seeing him on Instagram. I know he just got killed not that long ago, but he was out for a good minute. And when I say a good minute, I mean like 3 or 4 years. And it's crazy that he was able to walk that bid down and ain't no one ever get back, or he was just that treacherous that nobody ran up on him or gave him that kind of pressure. But damn, this is the game right here though. This is what you got in store when you win it. Because motherfuckers on the streets, sidelines, you would have seen Rich Porter out there doing his thing. You would have thought, man, this motherfucker's winning. He's on top, man. I want to be like him. But this is the battles that he's facing silently. But I mean, now it's evident to the world. But think about it. Damn, this is how cutthroat the game really is. There ain't no rules, no regulations. This your own people doing this to you from both sides. He got Alpo about to knock him off for the money that he was gonna go get his brother back with, and then you got motherfucking the kidnappers over here, his own uncle, trying to extort him out of money and doing him like that. Man, if this ain't the coldest scenario in the world, I don't know what is, but let's tap back in with it.
Apparently hit him up for some money he owed him, money he was going to use to get Danelle back.
Damn.
Rather than pay his debt, Alpo figured, why don't I just kill Rich? That way I don't have to pay him, and people will think the preacher crew did it anyways. This not only devastated the family, he now had one son murdered, and another one being held hostage. But it was also a turning point. With Rich dead, the kidnappers now knew that there was nobody left who could pay them their money. And they also couldn't let Danelle go, because, at this point, he could recognize their faces. 3 weeks later, Danelle's body was found. A homeless man was searching for cans, when he found the body wrapped in 14 garbage bags, less than a month.
Damn. So they had no choice, they felt like, and just, they did all that shit for nothing. This uncle betrayed him. Now, I wonder if there's really a certain place in hell for people like his uncle, though. You know, the Bible say all sin is the same kind of sin, but that's a whole another type of sin. That's like a different level of evil, right? This motherfucker, your own uncle, betrayed a whole family like that for some money. What does this dude think he did if and when he got the money, that he was going to just get the money and just motherfucking be out of the country and never heard from again, and no one would ever know that he was the one? Like, whole time though, envious, jealousy, just like right up under you in the same house. They living in the same house. My man's coming back and forth. He got his stash spot in the crib. It's crazy. Whole time. Whole family couldn't just elevate. Shit just had. This is the worst of the worst, right? Motherfucking. Wow.
Away from where Rich had been found 3 weeks earlier. The murders of Rich and Danelle Porter rocked the streets of New York. Danelle's kidnapping and murder was a major news story in the city, which was grappling with a skyrocketing level of drug-related violence. The NYPD and FBI then created the C11 squad in order to take down drug organizations operating across New York. Drug gangs had become too powerful for state authorities to handle alone, so this new task force would get help and resources from the feds. The C11 squad would eventually get a major break in April 1994, when a member of the preacher crew would reach out to them and offer to cooperate. He claimed that the preacher crew had been internally cleansing its own members, and that he reached out because he feared he could be next. He told authorities about...
Think about that. This is a group of killers right here. The janitors, they used to clean up the bodies, and they'd be having this big apartment building in New York down in the basement. They dusting and knocking everybody off. They got bodies on top of bodies. I think the main dude that started the preacher crew, he's got like 25 bodies or something more that they can stick to him, but there's got to be more than that. Now keep in mind that this is like a general boss right here when it comes down to fucking basically motherfucking a real drug gang, you know what I mean? Like, they really controlling shit. They guerrilla unit here. This ain't that made up rap shit neither. The shit that you be seeing, this is some real shit. And man, it's crazy. His own crew is snitching and telling everything that's happening because they're scared they're gonna get killed. They scared that they gonna get killed by their own members, but they've been killing and killing and killing. But now they scared. Now they willing to work with police for protection. What the fuck?
One particular incident. In March 1994, the preacher crew killed Malik, the same man who helped Apple kidnap Danelle back in 1989. Preacher and his right-hand man, Cuff, believed Malik was getting out of control and that he needed to go. Malik was described as ex-military and the most psychopathic member of the preacher crew. He was the type of person who killed for sport and would do anything to please Preacher.
Malik was really fucked up mentally, you know what I'm saying? But that killing shit, he loved that shit. You know what I'm saying? He loved doing that shit. And he ain't have no picks. Whoever, he was like a pit bull. When Pops let the chain off his ass, he going after anybody. You know what I'm saying? That's how thirsty he is.
Now, this is the shit that you gotta remember is out there, right? You got people like this really out there. This big world we live in, right? This big spacious world we live in. There's a lot of motherfuckers like that. I done been in prison with motherfuckers that had been in it for multiple bodies, and it always fucked me up because they be giving these motherfuckers like 48 years plus 98 plus 96. Like, these motherfuckers gonna be able to do 3, 4, 5, 6 different lifetimes, you know what I mean, to come back and do this time. It don't make no sense, but you know, that's why I be so thankful and appreciative that I made it back out here. And as I make this motherfucking video, believe me, in my mind, I'm thankful as ever because, man, I've been swimming in the fish with motherfuckers out there that are, you never know. These are the type of people they put you in a cell with while you're in prison. Be in that motherfucking cell, you think everything good, had a good cellie, he done left, you got the bottom bunk, next thing you know, they pushing the motherfucker in there like this. You need to check his paperwork if you don't know what he's about or what kind of case he got. You know, it's best that you do, because a motherfucker get pushed up in the cell. I've been in some facilities that pretty much everybody there was doing big bids. You know what I mean? I had a 22-year sentence, and they thought I was doing a short motherfucking turnaround, right? 22 years, but motherfuckers has got bodies on top of bodies. They've been in that motherfucker since the 80s, you know what I mean? And what they got to lose? Like he said, he liked to kill for sport. He get a rush. Cold game.
A preacher and cuff lured him to an apartment building that the crew controlled. They then led him into the basement, telling him they wanted to show him a new gun. Once downstairs, someone asked Malik to turn the radio up. But when he bent over to turn the dial on the radio, someone shot him in the back of the head. They then dismembered his body with a circular saw and burned a gang tattoo off his arm using acid. Preacher's son, who was active in the gang, would later say in a jailhouse interview that Malik's head was then wrapped in a sheet, taken to the roof of the apartment building, and used as a soccer ball.
God
Malik
damn.
wasn't the only person killed.
Did you hear what they just said? They said they took the man's head off, put it in a sheet, and took it to the top of the rooftop and kicked it around like a soccer ball. What the fuck? Damn. The devil be working overtime when you got motherfuckers out there that's cutthroat like that. Shit. Man, this shit is ugly. This shit is disgusting, though. Man.
Basement of that apartment. The preacher crew had been using the basement as a sort of torture dungeon for a while. They would bring their victims there and torture them. The gang would then have a group vote in the dungeon on whether the person needed to be killed. Members would either give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If there was a majority, they would then kill the victim and dismember their bodies. Their remains would then be discarded in an abandoned building somewhere. The crew even designated certain members as quote-unquote janitors. Members of the preacher crew who were janitors were given the responsibility to clean up the so-called mess left behind by victims. Being a janitor was actually considered a prestigious thing in the crew. In order to be a janitor, you had to have killed someone, and many members aspired to the position. You're probably sitting there, thinking this is absolutely insane. And you're 100% right. The preacher crew were literal demons. They crossed the line from being simple gangsters to being more like serial killers. They then used this feat.
More like they was serial killers. Man, they was pure demons. That's what I was just telling y'all just a minute ago. These motherfuckers was pure demons. There's a different kind of evil. These are different kind of sinners. You feel me? Like, these are some real cutthroat, cold-blooded, like, where is the God in them though? Where's the feelings? Where's the connection? Where's that? There ain't no God, there ain't no light in there. You know, if light really is knowledge, and knowledge trumped the ignorance, which is the darkness, where the God at? Where the light at in him? How the hell did it get put out? You know, I don't know. It should be crazy to me, because like, how can one human be that evil? Is he that hurt? Is he that damaged as a human being? I mean, fuck, he must be, right? Because damn, look at the pure evil that he's doing. Like what the fuck? That should be mind-boggling to me.
To dominate the streets. Imagine the type of fear you would feel if you knew about the torture dungeon and then saw someone from the preacher crew pull up on you and try to extort you. The informant who went to the C11 squad would tell the police everything. The preacher crew would then get taken down by the most powerful group of all, the United States government.
Damn.
A 47-count RICO indictment was then handed down, including charges relating to 11 murders, drug trafficking, and conspiracy. On February 6, 1999, Preacher would plead guilty to 13 murders. Prosecutors wanted to make it a death penalty case, the first federal death penalty case in New York in over 40 years. Prosecutors would also refer to him as the Black Hand of Death. Preacher then did something nobody expected. He would cooperate with police, telling on his entire crew, as well as his own son and daughter. He was then sentenced to a term of life in prison, plus 225 years. Clarence Preacher Heatley goes down as one of the most feared gangsters to ever come out of New York. He blurred the lines between gangster and serial killer and struck fear in the hearts of everyone, from rival drug dealers to the police. And that's why he's a certified savage. Please comment, like, and subscribe if
Now,
you enjoyed this video.
it
More
just
certified
said
savages is on the way.
it just said that he told on his own son and daughter, not just only his son and daughter, but he turned and told on everything, and he got the death penalty off him because he didn't even want to die. He got the death penalty off him, told on everything, admitted to 13 killings, told on his son and his daughter who were part of the organization, and he got a deal that he's gonna go do some the rest of his life in a federal penitentiary. God damn, ain't that a twist of motherfucking fates of how motherfucking the game go? This motherfucking wow. I wonder in the pen how many motherfuckers run up on him and call him a rat. I wonder how many motherfuckers, you know, that's what's so crazy is because more likely he probably a gorilla in that motherfucker, or he in a protective custody unit. It's like 90% of the yards nowadays that are motherfucking, everybody got a special needs or motherfucking some kind of weird shit going on, and ultimately that shit's just crazy. But this be somebody somewhere gotta have this motherfucker as a celly, right? Like, damn, this is your celly at night, you going to sleep, and this motherfucker is below you. Like, that shit wouldn't fuck with y'all. Like, you know what your celly is in here for, and motherfucker tell you that, then you find out you do all that shit, what you gonna do? More likely it's gonna go to blow and flow. If you try to get him out of there, you more likely you just gonna have to pack your shit and slide out on that midnight train to Georgia or motherfucking what you gonna do? You gonna live in that motherfucking cell with this guy? This motherfucker was heinous. Man, he was an evil of all kind of evils. But if this was a motherfucking celly, imagine that. You going to sleep and this motherfucker right here, this motherfucker underneath you. Motherfucker gonna wake up in the morning one day and he gonna be standing over your bed with a motherfucking bone crusher to your throat. He gonna want to just feel the kill again, you know what I mean? This type of motherfuckers you be putting yourself around when you go to the penitentiary. You put yourself around the worst of the worst, killers and motherfucking rapists, and man, motherfuckers sick in the head. It's crazy. A motherfucker like that, I wouldn't feel no pity for it. I wouldn't feel no kind of thing for it if they put him to death. You know, but damn, somebody kick a dog or motherfucking harm an animal, I'm on some shit. That should be fucking with me even more. Like, damn. I guess that's because the animals is so helpless, you feel me? But a human being, like, what the fuck? You should know better. Like, I feel like we all instinctively come out the womb to a degree with a moral GPS that kind of lets us know what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. But like, how do we motherfucking get so off the course like that? Because I guess that'd be the word of corrupt, right? And what was good got turned bad, and now this motherfucker is corrupt. This motherfucker is the ultimate evil. But ultimately, it's his own motherfucking uncle that devised the whole motherfucking plan to get it out of his own family member. Wow. You know, if you out there, you even around some shit like this, you even motherfucking, you know, motherfucking like this type of shit, man, get your motherfucking mind right. Man, puff, puff, give. You know what I mean? Get your mind right. Open your eyes. That shit is terrible. But yet, that's just another story of what the game brings you. While you out there winning, man, make sure you got your eyes all around you 360, because motherfuckers be peeping. Motherfucker like that be trying to get what you got. I'm out.